Nvidia has some plans that may finally put an end to the GPU shortage. Let's go, Nvidia, yes! Oh, I love you, Nvidia! Oh. Before that, make sure to subscribe and click the bell icon so you never miss another video. So at this point, it's been over 4 months since the RTX 3080 released, and if you want one, you really can't get one unless you're willing to pay over 2 times the MSRP on eBay, which is absolutely crazy to see, and this pretty much goes for all GPUs. In fact, recently I was thinking of trying to do a video on what GPUs you can actually buy under $300, and to my surprise, you basically can't buy anything at all. I mean, if you're into paying for like a GT 1030 for like a way more money than it's worth, then great, you can go ahead and get those cards, but obviously nobody's going to want to pay those prices for GPUs right now. So basically you can't find any graphics cards whatsoever right now, and it's looking really bad, and people are getting very frustrated. But I have some really good news for you, because if these leaks turn out to be true, well then Nvidia might be making some plans to, if not end, at least alleviate some of the GPU shortages that are going on. So let's go ahead and talk about that. So for a little while now, I've been talking about the fact that, over on the Korean Economic Daily a little while ago, they did actually report on a deal that was signed between Nvidia and Samsung to produce 2 times the 8nm GPUs. So obviously that's probably going to help, and at this point that's probably going to be going into effect sometime soon. And then on top of that, we also have a couple new pieces of information that just came out that point to Nvidia definitely trying their absolute hardest to get more GPUs into the hands of gamers. So this first news story comes from overclocking.com, and apparently multiple sources have confirmed to this website that yes, Nvidia will be actually reintroducing the RTX 2060 and 2060 Super. Now, of course, a lot of you might be a little bit confused by that, as they just ended production on the 2060 and 2060 Super, and we have an RTX 3060 that you should potentially be able to purchase for $330 that should be coming, sometime in the end of February. So this might not really make a whole lot of sense. I mean, why reintroduce an old series of GPUs? Everyone's going to want the new series of GPUs, but the problem right now is that you just simply can't get any new graphics cards. So, in order to make that a little bit better, I think what Nvidia is doing is, everyone's on, either Samsung 8nm or TSMC 7nm, but, Nvidia's past GPUs were being produced on TSMC 12nm, and to my knowledge, there's not really a bunch of huge companies making a lot of products on TSMC 12nm. There's at least not really any GPUs that I know of that are being produced on that node right now, so that leaves it pretty much wide open to produce more GPUs. And with how bad things are right now, where you pretty much can't buy a GPU to save your life unless you're willing to spend 2 to 3 times its MSRP, and even then it's still difficult, well, this may be the only option right now to getting GPUs to more gamers, because obviously between everything that's going on with everyone staying at home, I think I heard reports of apparently Steam numbers have doubled since all this crazy stuff has started happening. We got people trying to resell GPUs online, you got Bitcoin mining going on. They're gonna need to do something to get GPUs in the hands of gamers, and I think that this is an absolutely awesome move from Nvidia, because, hey, if you can't even buy an RTX 3060, you can't buy a 3070, you can't buy a 3080, you can either sit there with your Intel integrated graphics or maybe no graphics card whatsoever, or you can try and buy an RTX 2060 or 2060 Super, because apparently these 2 cards will be re-entering the market, and supposedly they're going to be re-entering the market pretty soon. So now this probably won't happen for at least another month, but what we can expect is once these cards do hit the market, they're probably going to be less palatable to miners. We don't know 100% for sure, but they're probably going to be trying to get them into the hands of gamers to make things just a little bit better. Now, of course, they're going to come in at a price of $300 and $400 US. So when you compare a $300 RTX 2060 to a $330 RTX 3060, well, obviously the value of the 2060 does seem less, but of course, you're not really even going to be able to find an RTX 3060 for $330. And in fact, even at $330, I consider the RTX 3060 to be severely overpriced. But in any case, you probably won't be able to get one, maybe even not for $400. It might cost you $500 to get a 3060. So if you can actually buy an RTX 2060 for $300 US, hey, in this current market, that's probably going to be your best move. And to be honest with you, the RTX 2060 is a pretty great graphics card, especially the 2060 Super. That's essentially an RTX 2070. So if you can get one of those 2 cards, that may be the move right now, but it's going to take probably at least a month for this stuff to start rolling out. And then hopefully after these cards are released and we get, more 8nm 8nm nodes being produced by Samsung and given to Nvidia. Hopefully that will also lead to more RTX 30 series cards as well, so that if you're looking for one of those cards and you're not willing to sell for an RTX 20 series card, that will hopefully be a more viable option in the next 1 to 2 months. So that's the first bit of good news, and I think that's really, really awesome. Great to hear. I've been saying they need to reintroduce some cards for a little while to some of my friends, and so I'm really glad to see that. But there's one other piece of news that came out recently that at first may sound a little bit weird, but I think it's going to be really good news as well. So according to WCCF Tech, apparently there were some EEC listings for possible MSI mining RTX 3060 Ti cards, and a lot of you might be saying, hey, we don't want them selling to miners, and I agree, we don't want them selling GPUs to miners, but the thing is, it actually may lead to you having a better chance to get a GPU, and here's why. So right now, even if Samsung produces double the amount of 8nm nodes for Nvidia, leading to a higher amount of GPUs that can be created, Nvidia still has to rely on all the PCB components and everything else that goes into making a graphics card to get you that video card. Now, one other way that they could, potentially make more video cards is if they do something like they did in the past, where they make mining cards for miners, sell them to those people with less resources on it, and then they use all those extra resources to create more video cards that are meant for gamers. And I think that's going to be the way that things go. So this could actually be a good thing, because if you take a look at what these mining cards could look like, they could come with, no box, they could come with no display parts, no RGB on the cards, it could have a slightly worse cooler, and it could even have less PCB components. So again, they can use all of those extra resources that would have been made selling them to miners anyway, because miners are probably using bots trying to buy them as fast as they can, or in some cases maybe even approaching companies and buying them wholesale. Well, they can use all those extra resources plus the extra 8nm nodes that should be coming from Samsung, at least hopefully, and then allow them to create more GPUs overall, selling the mining cards to miners and selling the gaming cards to gamers. So I think overall all of this is just really great news, because we're looking at potentially more graphics cards for the 30 series that might be able to get into your hands. If you can't get a GPU at all, looks like the 2060 and 2060 Super may become an option pretty soon here. And all we have to do is stick it out, I think, for at least 1 to 2 more months here, and then you should have way more options to get your hands on some sort of graphics card, because believe me, right now it is incredibly difficult. But hey, that's just what I think. What do you think about Nvidia reintroducing some RTX 20 series cards? Do you think that it's good, or do you think that they should shift all of their focus onto the RTX 30 series? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and of course, I'll see you in the next video. If you made it to the end of the video, be sure to drop a like. Every time you do so, AMD and Nvidia get more stock. Also, if you want to see more, click here. You won't be disappointed.